Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today we're going to do the fourth in our series, The Ordinary Life. And that puts us at how to draw a cup and saucer. And the cup here is what we usually call a teacup versus a mug. Now today we're quite used to mugs. We like our coffee and we like a lot of it, and so we have kind of reverted to big, solid, chunky, round cups. You know what I mean. But we used to drink out of something like this. It was small, it was delicate, and it was often made of quite breakable china. This one on the bottom says fine bone china. It's from England. Isn't it pretty though? Now our modern mugs often have cute sayings on them and cute pictures, and they can be pretty too. But this is what we used to drink out of. And when couples would get married, they would order sets of china that would be, serve 8-12 people. And there would be 8-12 teacups and saucers, all different designs. A lot of them are beautiful. And they're worth something today. They're expensive. But in this book, this is the first lesson on drawing, called How to Draw a Cup and Saucer, and it is a teacup. And isn't it pretty? If you have one, you should get it out and use it as a reference when you draw. Something interesting about them, we know the top of even a mug or teacup is round. But depending on how you're looking at it, if we want to draw that top, look, it's no longer round. It's an oval. And this drawing is based on a cup that is kind of viewed from the side, and we only see an oval as the top. So, I have all kinds of materials here. Really, all you need is an eraser and a pencil. I've got a few more things here that I'm going to use in case you want to learn how to use them or get some, or you may already have these supplies. I have this blending stick, and I show you a trick on how to make the steam. Now, it wasn't made in here like that, but I'm going to show you a better way. And these are used with blending sticks, and I have a different eraser, and I have a ruler. And I have a different type of eraser, but I will show you those things as we come to them. So, I had to choose some paper, and before this started, when I was thinking about this challenge, I decided to use this old sketchbook that I had. I hadn't used it very much, so I wasn't real familiar with the paper. But I've been practicing in it. I hate to show you these because I've kind of lost my drawing skill. I've been doing collage for almost a year, and you know, drawing is like anything else. If you don't use it, you lose it. So I practiced and drew this teacup. I like my steam. Then I practiced again, and I think I did a little better. Here, look, much more even. The sides are more even. My oval's good. My oval was bad here. And this just shows if you're an artist, and as an artist, for some reason, you have to quit for a while. Weeks, months, you may quit for years. You may not have done art since you were a child, but you have the desire to go back in it. Don't be discouraged if when you first try it, you can't do very good. You don't satisfy yourself. This one, I do like this. And in this drawing, well, I wanted to add color. I really wanted to add it with watercolors or markers or colored pencils, and I did consider that. But our normal life book is actually just showing us how to use pencil. And you know, I think sometimes we lose our ability to use our pencils well and know how to use them without bringing something in that I think spiffs it up. So we are going to just use our pencils and erasers, of course, in our drawing section of this challenge. So I need to flip the page. Let's go to an empty page. I think right here. And let's start drawing our challenge. Now, this is going to be a little tough for me because this is wide, and I didn't think about that when I chose it. I may have to do something like that. Now, let's go back to our book. Number 1, the first step, draw 2 oval shapes. Now, there's one problem with this. They're right. We need to draw 2 oval shapes. One is this oval right here, the top oval. And it will be different sizes depending on the slant. I'm not going to get too picky about that right now. That second oval, we know this is round, but just like this top, when it's tipped, it suddenly turns into an oval. And if it's sitting on it, we'll have 2 oval shapes. And the basics or the foundation of our drawing is going to be those 2 oval shapes. Just like this. But I was going to explain and forgot. In real life, these oval shapes, the top one is smaller than the bottom one. Our saucer is much bigger than the top of our cup. You see that? They did them the same size, and you can see as the drawings go, this saucer and the top of our cup are the same size. Now, either it's a very teeny tiny saucer that fits in here, or we have a great big wide top, wide mouth cup. So, in order to fix that, because you can see this is smaller, our top oval will be smaller than our bottom oval. So let's get our ovals drawn. Now, my paper, again, I wasn't being very careful in my choice because of the paper. That's okay. It doesn't erase well. When I use a standard eraser on it, or an electric eraser, or almost any eraser, it fluffs up the paper and it shows. You can't get rid of it. It takes part of the paper off. I have to use a good old art eraser. And I don't know if you've seen these. I don't have a new one to show you, but they come in squares, and they're almost like bubble gum. You can pull them, you can knead them, you can do all kinds of stuff with them, but they're sticky. And I don't know what this is. It doesn't want to come up. With pencil, it will pick up the pencil line and not leave marks. And that's what I have to use in this. Because believe me, I still have to use an eraser. I think all artists have to use an eraser. That's as important as a pencil sometimes. Now, to begin with my ovals, I'm even going to bring out my ruler. And I don't care how big or little my top oval is, but I want to mark 2 little dots across from each other. That helps me make my oval. And, you know, the center is about here. So I'm going to lightly draw . Now, we have to be careful because the coffee cup being perfectly round, usually, our ovals need to be alike on both sides. Now, I'm human and I'm not very good at drawing anymore. But I'm going to show you the steps. Now, I need to make my saucer a little bit bigger. I'm not worried about a straight line here. I just want to know it's bigger and straight across from each other. Does that look about right? It may or may not be. Now, on this top oval, there will have to be some erasing, so I really want to draw light. All right. I have my two ovals, and they're not perfect, and I hope you can see them because I sure don't want to do them darker and have to erase them. Let's go back to our book. The next step was draw 4 curved lines. The first one are these side lines that come down to the bottom, comes down into the saucer. The second one is on the bottom of the saucer. I'll show that on the real saucer. Do you notice if it's tipped, there is this, I won't call it a groove, it's the opposite of a groove. But when you see it from the side, see how there's white? Now in another saucer it might not be white, but on this one you see this white here. That's what this is. And then we do one where the line of the coffee comes. So let's get those lines in. The ones we have to watch closely are these side lines. Now it should come about halfway down between the lines of your saucer so it can sit in the middle of the saucer. Let's try to make them as alike as possible. And flatten it at the bottom a little. It needs to sit straight in our saucer. And there's our side lines. Now we need to do, number 2 is under here. So let's do, and remember, do the same curve as this one. Because it's on the same saucer, it'll go the same way. Now I think I'm a little short here, so let's come out a little bit. All right, and then there's number 3. Oh, yes, is the cup handle. Let's do 4 first. That is marking where the coffee will go. And it's about right in the center of this oval. Be sure you keep this the same size all around, but the coffee, because the coffee will sit level in your cup. So the inside rim should look the same. So there's our inside rim. Now we have to do the handle. Our handle will come around here. It looks like an ear. Mine does. Now you can make any shape handle you want, but my coffee cups have ear look handles. All right, we have the basics of our coffee cup already. Now, I want to do a few things that they don't show you. I want to add a little rim here above the top. You can't hardly see it on this, but most of them will have a little rim above this edge. I want to add that. And let's see, I want to look back at my picture here. What else did I add extra? I added just a little bit to show, I don't know if you can see this, but there is an indentation right here that keeps your coffee cup in the middle. Well, it's supposed to. And that might show a little bit beneath our coffee cup. And remember, keep these curves going the same direction. This one would match this one, and going this way would match that one that we're going to erase. All right, let's see, what else can we put on there? All right, this will have some thickness to it. And when this is seen from the side, it comes down and it hooks on, and this one comes down and hooks on. So, nice skinny handle, and these always used to break very easily. You had to handle these so carefully, especially when you were washing them. Oh my. Now I want my coffee cup to have some design on it. But first, let me erase this line right here. And I'm going to use this so it's more or less just picking up the pencil lines there. Now, let's put a stripe on my coffee cup. Now, any decoration, it won't be a straight line across. It won't look right. It'll look like you have a flat cup. No dimensions. It'll curve out, and the line has to curve out. There we go. See that line? And any decoration or words you would put on your cup have to follow that line. Let's see. I also think I'll put a couple dots, a polka dot cup. Let's do that. And see, we don't do them straight across because it would run across this line. We do them in a curve that matches this top curve. Now, mine aren't perfect because they're not exactly the same size or the same spacing, and it depends on how careful you want to be and how realistic you want your picture to be. All right, let's go back now to our book and see what the next step might be. Number 3, add some shading. They shaded up here, on the side, and on the bottom, and a little bit here. Now I think is the time we need to make some of these lines stronger. We know they're going to stay. We like what we drew. Then we need to do some shading. Now, as a hint, I'm using what they call an HB pencil. That is kind of like your normal school pencil. Most of these are HB, or a number 2 it calls it, HB. This one came from an art set. This one just came from, I don't know, it was stuck in my drawer somewhere. We used these yellow pencils for years. So if you're using one of these, that's perfectly fine. I'm using one from my art set. And HB is a good pencil to use for your initial sketching. So this line I know is good. I'm going to darken it. It needs to come around here, my rim. I went a little crooked there. We're going to darken that line. We're going to darken this line, the side lines. Go around your cup handle though. And then our bottom line. Let's darken a handle. Our stripe. Our dots. and our saucer. You can also make a little rim on the saucer if you want. You can do it any way you want. This is your teacup. And feel free to add color, but it's good to learn how to use our pencil and make contrasts and make beautiful drawings just with pencil. Now I have a line there. I won't worry about it right now. It's said to add shade. So they did their shade by adding dots, which you can do, but I like to use something called hatching. That is when you draw lines that make this darker. Let's say we wanted to shade this right here. I can draw lines and make them uneven lines a little bit, because things that are round have some shade at the edges, right? There. Now that's hatching. It's called hatching. I'm not sure why. There's probably a good reason. I might have to look that up. If we want to make this darker yet, we can do cross hatching. We go across our lines, but go with the flow of the direction of the object. This is curved. We crossed it. We're crossing it. See how that works? In fact, they will cross it many times to get the darkness they want. I'm sure you've seen this in our pictures where they've used cross hatching. It works very good. There. Now, there will probably be some shading in this area. But see, I'm hatching with the direction. See, this would turn around and start going this way towards the center. But, you know, there's another way you can hatch that I really like, and that is using your blending stick. There's some other names for it. I'm not sure how to say it. It's something like tortillan. I don't think I'm saying that right. Stump. I call it a blending stick because that's what I do with it. Your pencils are soft. And look, I can blend this shadow in. And to me, that's where some magic lies. Blending our shadows. Now you have to be careful. This is kind of like charcoal in a way that if you get into it with your finger will turn gray. And so will your paper. Now there's some things we need to do. Don't forget a wisp of steam. Now I'm not ready to do my steam. I'll show you why. Let's go in and this is an art pencil, and you can get small art sets of pencils like at Walmart and definitely Amazon that have different types of lead. Softer leads, harder leads. This was a kind of a medium lead. If you see a number like 2B, 3B, 4B, think of the word bold. It's darker, it's softer, and it makes heavier lines. I'm going to color in my strip. See how much darker this is? We'll think this is a black strip around my coffee cup. or a dark blue, some dark color. See how much darker this can draw? You can get up to 6B and probably even farther anymore. I think they make different sizes now than they did even when I started in art. And just fill this in nice and solid. Although, try to make your lines go in the direction of the drawing. This has a slight curve to it. See if you can keep your lines doing that, or do tiny little circles like this. Now you can take your blending stick and blend that even more. Let's do our circles. We have black circles on top. And let's blend this shading around them. You know, if you take your time, even on a simple teacup, you need to take your time. And I'm kind of hurrying because I'm on camera, but don't you hurry. Let's do a shadow under that rim. Now, we need to make our coffee, and that's dark, so we're going to use it. Oh, did I fail to mention this is 3B? We could get it so much darker. We could use a 6B and really get our coffee dark. Now, the coffee goes kind of in circles. If you've ever looked at coffee, maybe you prefer tea. You could think this is a cup of tea. I'm sure that's why they're named teacups. I think it probably came from old England or places where tea was a big thing many years ago, and they had these special cups to drink tea out of. But I think, especially here in America, it got replaced with coffee. Now I want to show you a cute trick. We have a little more shading to do, but let's do this first. Let's blend in our coffee. And make our steam. Now we make our steam from the lead that has gone off onto our stump. It's dirty, right? Our steam now is coming up from the coffee from our dirty blending stick. And there we have our steam. Isn't that cute? Now, we also need to do a little shading, and let's use that same dirty end. Shade a little bit on this handle. And let's shade some on our saucer. Now, I was a little uneven. I had this longer than this one, see? Now, I realize that, and there's some here that I will need to clean up and erase, and I'm sure you will have some spots like that too. And you just work with it, and when you see something wrong, fix it. And then I like to put the edge of a table in, and I like to use my ruler for that, so it kind of comes off as a straight table that's not tippy. Now, you could go on and you could draw a tablecloth under your cup. You could put words up here. In fact, when I do the collage of teacups, I think I'll put some words on it. But you could do coffee. Well, I like the one they use for mugs. Hug in a mug. Well, that doesn't fit here. It's hugs in a cup, but I love my coffee. You can do anything you want around this. And then when you get used to drawing it, try adding markers or colored pencils or paint and have a lot of fun drawing your teacup. Now, the second part of this chapter, I'm going to take the idea of a teacup and make a collage out of it. At first, I was going to draw a teacup, and then I could cut paper and use paint to decorate my teacup. But I had cute teacups in my books, and I saw an idea of something I really want to do with a teacup using steampunk. So come back for my next video if you want to see how I make a steampunk teacup. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you try those steps of drawing. First, 2 ovals, 4 curved lines. The third one, we add the shading, and we add steam on the fourth one. And just enjoy this. Don't get discouraged. Even if you think your first one's great, try it several times, because every time you draw it, you'll get better. It will improve, even if your first one was great. So, thank you for joining me. I will see you in that next video, and bye-bye for now.